Hi guys, welcome back to the Entitled Podcast. If you are new here or returning, thank you guys for coming in to listen to me yap today. And today, like we have seen through Cinematic Crumbs this week, I talked about bad and good Willowwood content, not only in the Western Sphere, but also outside of the Western Sphere, and that pretty much jogged my, retrospective thought on specifically the main dish in which I've been eating and consuming, which has been Thai GL. Now, I have seen a lot of critiques concerning the consent behavioral, issues that are going on within Thai GL and the way it has been romanticized. I have been seeing that on YouTube, but at the same time, I haven't seen anybody really make a in defense video of it, and I would like to make an in defense video of it because of the fact of not the defense of the critiques. The critiques need to be heard, I fear. The critiques are correct. Like, there is a consent issue, not only in Thai GL specifically, but sapphic media as a whole and romantic genre as a whole. There is an issue with consent, and it needs to be recognized and it needs to be fixed. And also, the way the story is being portrayed needs to be evaluated as well, instead of romanticized. It needs to be formed in a light that is both, I guess you could say, quote unquote, educational without feeling like preachy. I know that's a lot to accomplish, but at the same time, I think it can be done. Just to have, the conversation regarding consent and regarding those critiques, they should be heard, but I don't think as well that media should be limited in terms of, having it restricted or barred. I think just the way we tell stories should be shifted. That's what that whole video was about. But in defense of Thai GL, I didn't give it enough credit in that video to say that pretty much Thai GL is truly accomplishing what the West couldn't. And I'm saying that with my full chest because truly Thai GL as its own specific genre is accomplishing so much more than what I've seen throughout all my years of being on this earth and pretty much having to hunt for Western media. And on top of that, there's a broader discussion that needs to be formed because if I'm not mistaken, Thailand just got the okay from the government in order for them to essentially have gay marriage, right? The US has had gay marriage for years now. It's been a hot minute. Like, we've had gay marriage for years, but yet when it comes to those specific genres and depictions and media, there's a lack of it. It's every blue moon that we get something, and we're now picking up the pace. But the fact that a place like Thailand, where they didn't even have it legalized for a hot minute, was able to go against the restriction of, the legal system and was like, you know what? We'll just create the media so people can actually be able to see it. And of course, there's discussions to be had about the revenue and the money in which it's bringing, but also the coverage in which it gives these adult actresses as well. Because truly, if you want to get your foot in the door in terms of getting out there, to have your name out there in the industry, right now, a lot of people, or a lot of women, I guess, actresses, are getting into those GLs, like, spaces, and they're getting their name out there. Like, to put it into perspective for you, if you're a Thai GL watcher, right, before watching the GL in question, where the pair was, a pair, right, a couple, before then, when did you ever hear of them? Crickets, right? Crickets. Like, when did you ever hear of those actresses' names in the media, in the mainstream? A lot of people, I would dare say, would say that they didn't hear of those actresses beforehand. And or for some people, I think specifically for like TK and Nur, this is their first rodeo. This is their first go about when it comes to acting, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me in the comments if I am mistaken. But from what I can remember and recall, this is like their first go around in terms of acting as like the main leads in a drama. And there's so much to unpack with my defense in terms of Thai GL because I didn't give them enough credit. And I don't think a lot of people outside of Thailand are giving them enough credit for the type of work in which they are doing. And what I mean by that is the fact that they are actively going up against usual public mainstream media and just putting out the niche, subgenre of this sort of romance out there, and it did very well and it was received very well, and still going to give sapphic people more opportunities to watch this, not only from the comfort of our homes, but on top of that, to be able to see different sort of narratives play part in a sapphic context. Like, there's so many moving parts in terms of TIGL that is doing incredibly well. And I'll try and go piece by piece, but if I jump everywhere, I'm sorry. It's just what it is. That's how I talk. But back to what I was just saying, they are actively giving us different perspectives of how queerness can show up in our day-to-day lives. Literally, granted, is it romanticized? Yes, but this is romance, babe. What did you expect? And so when it comes to things like, for example, Gap the series, the first big girl, not big girl, but big mainstream GL that came and hit and took storm. That was office romance, which is a trope, and it's romanticized and all that other stuff. But if we just think about the fact that we finally got office drama sapphics, we got novel sapphics. A lot of these TIGLs are often based from novels. So, for example, Only You, we got Bodyguard X pop star sapphics on screen. Y'all, I'm currently living in the US. I have never seen that a day in my life and have it be well manicured, I guess you could say, or well, created for it to hit the mainstream. Mind you, most of this is free on YouTube. This is goodies. This is absolute goodies. Are you kidding me? And it has pretty good production considering that it's free. And I see that a lot of them are retracting that freeness and having subscriptions and stuff, which honestly, get your bag. Because, a lot of money went into this regardless. Even if it is a smaller production group or company, a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of money went into this. And so for the fact that we are able to get different sort of perspectives and stories and narratives in a specifically sapphic context, finally, I have been waiting for this since my teenage years. Come on now. They're doing exceptionally well in that area and in that space. You have, let me think, you have best friends to lovers, you have coworker and boss, you have, girl, I'm trying to understand what Pluto is. I'm trying to understand, I guess, Pluto is a mess. Pluto is a lot. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole, but you get what I mean. There are a lot of different characters, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different narratives, and they're doing that extremely well. Additionally, on top of that, they're affording new coming actresses an opportunity to show what they can do on the screen, right? They're giving these new, fresh faces an opportunity to get themselves out there and to show an audience what they can do within a sapphic context. Come on. New opportunity, new narratives, new perspective. Finally, sapphic media that doesn't have them both dying, which, let's get into that. Let's immediately get into that. Because that is one of the most irritating, annoying, pressing things about Western media, is that when it comes to gay people or sapphic people or just queers in general, including trans people, right? The LGBTQIA, essentially, when it comes to that whole group of people, they are very quick to kill people off. And this doesn't add anything to the plot, to the narrative. It doesn't add anything to the story, mind you. They just kill them off just for the sake of it. And there's no actual plausible reason why they should do that. Because it's gotten to such a degree in Western media that one of them must break up, or one of them must go back to their husband, or one of them must die, that essentially it's been coined as a kind of a meme in queer spaces where you watch a lot of sapphic or gay media of oh yeah, I hope nobody dies. That is an often used sentiment in queer spaces when looking for media, because it happens so much. And I think with the rise of TIGL and them actively keeping, the girls alive. Like keeping the girls alive, keeping them essentially semi well off by the end of the story, and actively providing people even outside of their country who are sapphic a narrative that actively takes them and puts them in a happier place. Like they let queers be happy. Granted, in Thai GL, yes, do they have a lot of drama? Absolutely. This is essentially like a telenovela, but in Thailand. Like I'm eating it up either way. Like I don't care if there's drama. But like, is there drama? Is there angst? Is there strife? Of course. But by the end, usually, they have a happy ending. Now, I will say that because of the fact that this genre is very new, I'm enjoying the fact that they are giving us a foundation of, strictly happy endings, where both the girls get together, the families somehow make up, or XYZ, you get the point. I'm enjoying that they're creating that as a foundation rather than, what the West has done, which has been like, oh, cheated, oh, kill them off, oh, one of them gets sucked into a portal, like, I don't know, something awful happens instead of a foundation. We finally get happiness, but I wouldn't be opposed. Listen, I wouldn't be opposed if they were to, give sad sapphic stories, but that can wait. That can literally wait. I'm enjoying the drama. I'm enjoying the happy endings. I'm enjoying it. I am. I literally am. The only thing that really needs to be fixed as of thus far is, again, like I said in my other video, the consent thing, the behavioral thing. And again, like I said, this is a defense video, so let's keep it on that route. So with that being said, I was like, okay, Thailand is actively doing what the West wouldn't and couldn't do, I guess, for some odd reason. Even though they have billions of dollars to put into projects, or millions of dollars, or even thousands of dollars to put in projects, they still aren't even giving it all that they can. And this makes me go to one of my favorite Thai GLs that I've seen thus far, has been the best produced, acted, best produced, acted, like color graded, everything. I love this Thai GL down. Clarabelle. Let's look at Clarabelle as a reference piece for what I hope to see more of in Thai GL and beyond, just in sapphic, media. I would love to see more of this because, just to give you like a little bit of, context, Clarabelle is essentially this very complex story that has to do with two inmates who both, well, not to spoil, but let's just say two inmates. One of them is actively being set up that we know of just straight off the bat, so that's not much of a spoiler. But two inmates, they fall in love and they're in prison and they're serving out their time together, but everything starts to unravel when things get hectic inside of the environment of being in the prison system. And so you get so many fleshed out instances within this storyline that I absolutely loved, and it was so refreshing to see from a Thai GL series, or even a sapphic series, really, because I can't say that there are a lot of Western movies and or TV shows that I have seen fully fleshed out, meaning both the girls have their own separate identities. They actively, interact with other characters. The side characters are fleshed out. The storyline itself and the plot maintains itself throughout the storyline, and it actively shows, it makes you think about different, social issues, sort of. Yeah, I would say that's a social issue. Social issues that are going on within that sort of, imprisonment system. And I absolutely ate it up. I did. And rightfully so. Because what do you mean we get sapphic love, we get imprisonment, we get to see characters that aren't them actively have a personality? Like, we get to actually have a good show, to be frank. Like, a very, very great show. And this isn't to say that the previous GLs that I have seen within the time in which I have been on this earth, right, weren't any good. That's not what I'm saying. Those were good. They were delicious. However, were they that fleshed out as Clarabelle? No. I must say that pretty sternly. No, they weren't. But Clarabelle, oh my gosh. Yeah, give it to me. Give me 20 of them, actually. Because that was so good. It was so good. Because it made me think that, because you're going to see throughout the series, this isn't really a spoiler. You can kind of expect this. But in the prison system, there is, of course, sort of bailing out systems. There's power dynamics between who's like the biggest and the baddest. You have that rogue dog that's there. You have active, like, I guess you could say, not even like you could say it is what it is. Like, literally, this is what it is. Corruption, like, you get every single piece and part that you would think of that you would see in a usual, normal, like, prison-based movie or show. All of those elements are intertwined within Clarabelle's, relationship and arcs in which they go through. And you also get to see, again, side characters. They're actually fleshed out. The 3Ds, which if you decide to watch the show, the 3Ds are essentially like these band of sisters that all simultaneously kind of end up one after another in this, prison. And you get to see their like relationship dynamic with each other, how they kind of low-key hate Belle. And you also get to see how Claire kind of came to fruition in terms of becoming the quote-unquote mad dog. You see how Belle really does struggle trying to get through not only false imprisonment, but on top of that, just trying to get past the grief of losing her livelihood, and also just trying to make it out and survive throughout the, sentence that she's been given. And you even see like this sweet old little grandma as well have her like character fleshed out. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. May Clarabelle rule. May Clarabelle rule. I wish that there were more stories like that out there that was fully fleshed out in that way. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up as of thus far. Well, actually no. Another element, because of the fact that they kind of have this sort of foundation of not only providing the public with shows, they kind of are taking the approach of actively integrating themselves with their fans and having, of course, fan service, fan culture, and making merch and having icons. Well, not necessarily icons, but having like sort of a mascot and still providing the audience with something to hold on to, which can be a little dangerous, but they still do it with a smile on their face, and they are actively, as actresses, putting themselves in that area to interact with their fans in that way. Again, another thing of dedication in which they have shown throughout Sapphic, media. And on top of that, some of the girls sing. Like, they actively sing in their intros and outros and during scenes. Like, they'll have the girls on the track singing to make it feel even more intimate of a sort of, I guess, series that you're receiving. You're getting more pieces of these actresses in which are pouring their all into not only their performance, not only their singing, but also their fan interaction. And you're getting these narratives and perspectives that the directors and producers are providing to essentially everybody who is willing to look at it and or sometimes willing to pay. And I think that's incredible. And so with this video, I was pretty much just trying to put out my thoughts out there into the online ether to describe how much Thai GL is truly turning the tides, right, for Sapphic media in general. Like, they are truly holding that crown tight, and they're not letting go anytime soon. And I hope with time there will be, of course, improvements, because usually that's what happens. With time, it improves. With time, it gets better. And I can't wait to see what other series comes out, what other couples come out, what those different actresses do independently, because as I said previously, fan service can get dangerous for the actresses because of unhinged needs to go to the prison cell. Like truly unhinged people that call themselves fans, they are also interacting with them through fan service. And with that being said, I think that supporting, if you're actually a fan or even just a person who admires or enjoys the way the person, portrays a character or acts, their actresses, the way they act. If you are just like, oh, I want to see what they can do in a different aspect or a different dynamic or with different people, actively participate in that person's doings, like where they're at in terms of like in their career. Actively like participating in what that person is doing within their career and just seeing how they're forming their own type of ways of acting, I think is incredibly great as well. That you should do. If you're a fan, if you're not a fan, or if you just want to see something new in which you see the familiar face, but just not the familiar person or the familiar typecast or character that they're used to playing within these sapphic films. Because I know that this conversation came up when Lena and Mew are both a couple in My Safe Zone. In their series My Safe Zone, Lena and Mew play the couple Aylin and Jane, and they have recently been casted separately for 2 different projects. And I was like, please, 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 I hope the people don't crash out, because that is not something to crash out over. That is something to actively celebrate, because you're able to see these actresses go out of their comfort zone and go into different spaces where they can actively use their talent and tools in order to create something maybe even better or something even new or something you never expect from them. And that's exactly what I was talking about, I think, in my previous video when I mentioned Sonya and Look Me, because I love their acting. I love them as actresses. I want to see them in a different context than sapphicism. That's not a real word, but I'm making it a real word. Like, I would love to see that. And I would love to see them expand on their talents that I can already see through the projects in which they've had. And so to anybody that's listening to this, that is a TIGL fan or just a casual casual watcher like myself, if you see your faves or people that you liked in a series do other things, support them there as well. It means a lot to them, I'm sure, because they're trying to get out there, they're trying to get their name out there, and they're trying to do their job. And that's that. So this is the in defense of TIGL video that I wanted to put out there into the ether, because I was like, you know what? I gave a lot of critiques. And I stand by those critiques because I meant what I said. However, I do believe that I didn't give them enough appreciation and enough praise for the amount of sapphic work in which they are doing and actively giving opportunities to new faces, new actresses and actors, and essentially creating this genre and fleshing it out even more than what the West is currently working with and has worked with. And I am extremely grateful for that. And so, yeah, that's the end of this pod. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment if you want. You have free will. And yeah, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your day or night. That's it. That's the pod. I'm logging off. Bye.